Sweet little baby. Yes, you're my sweet little baby. Mummy's taking a video of you because you're my beautiful little baby. He loves your scratches. You're my sweet little gorgeous girl. Oh yes, I love you so much. I love you so much. Mama's beautiful little Charlie birdie. Beautiful little Charlie birdie. Oh my goodness. You're rubbing the back of your eyes or your ears, I'm not sure. I don't think that's your ear. Look at you. You're just, I know. You're really enjoying all that nibbling and scratches. She just had a bath in her little bath bowl over there. She's a happy little birdie. You happy little birdie, Charlie? Oh, you're quilling. You're quilling. Pushing out new feathers. I can see them on the top of your head. Look, there's one. Hold still. See that one? There it is. Oh, and now we're going to have a little bit of a preen. Birdies like to keep them feathers nice and preened. You're my sweet little Charlie baby. Yes. You're my sweet little baby. You gonna give me a kiss? Kissy, 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 kissy. Oh, there we go. Little nibbles. Kissy, 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 kissy. We just watched Neil Oliver's little mini documentary about the Titanic, which was very interesting. He speaks so beautifully with his Scottish accent and the rolling of the R's. I can't even do it. I do have Scottish ancestry though. But he speaks so gorgeous, and he's a lovely man. He really is. I can tell that he's a lovely soul. Takes great interest in the history of the British Isles and I suppose other places too. Being an archaeologist or anthropologist, I can't remember which he is. I think he's an anthropologist. Yeah, it's all very fascinating. It's all very fascinating, Charlie. Yes. Yes. Pretty baby. Pretty baby. There's a big quill there, look. See? Oh, she won't stand still for long. She won't hold still for long enough for me to show you. She doesn't like me touching it because they're actually quite sore when they push out. It actually hurts her skin. I can brush it as long as I'm in the direction of where they're growing. If you go against them, she bites me, which is understandable. Like, no one wants to be touched in their sore spots, do they, Charlie? No one wants to be dug into their wounds and have salt rubbed in it. We can say a lot about that happening lately. It was a bit monstrous, wasn't it? But Mama T went dancing last night at the Brooklyn Standard. And it was a wild old night reminiscent of the days when I used to dance at the Irish Murphys. It was wall-to-wall, drunken, cavorting, wild men and women. One young woman was a pain in the fucking ass. Oh, a pain in the ass. She was young and privileged and, you know, a Stepford wife model type. And she decided she didn't like me because I'm an older woman and I'm larger. I take up a bit more space. I was just minding my own business. So she continuously like bent forward and pushed her bottom into me to push me out the way. And it was getting really, really tiresome, but I just rose above it because like there's bitches everywhere, horrible people everywhere, and you just have to keep rising above it. So I kept my cool. But then later on during the night, she inculcated some young guy. I'm sure it was deliberate because I saw him shoot me a really nasty, malevolent, evil, impish look. And he had been pushing into me with his back into me, like literally trying to push me forwards into the melee. And it was just nasty. And I, as I do, was stoically holding my ground. And finally, I got pissed off. So I said to him, listen here, boyo, I said, and how did I put it? I said, I'm not intimidated by you, boyo, I said. And he looked at me because he realised that I knew exactly that what he was doing was on purpose, because I saw him shoot me a sideways glance and smirk at his little female creature of the night fucking thing she was. And so I knew they were doing it deliberately. So I said, listen here, I said, no one intimidates me, boyo. I said, in fact, you'll have to wake up very early in the morning to even dream about intimidating me. And I shot him my infamous, look. The look that my psych is absolutely terrified of. Anyway, boyo good-naturedly backed off like a long dog. But I saw him look at his little slug creature female thing, and even she kind of backed off a bit after that. They realised they weren't going to get anywhere with me. But it is tiresome. You go out to have a lovely night out and be wild and dance joyously. There's no need for this nasty, othering, vicious behaviour, and they think they're being subtle and they can get away with it, right? But they don't get away with it with me. So anyway, that was the only unpleasantness, really, apart from Scottish Carl, who has a weird, fucked up fascination for me since Irish Murphy's days, and we're talking, well, when did I stop going there? Early 2015. So we're talking, from 8 years ago. And I rarely run into him unless he used to come to the casino, or he's seen him at Brooklyn Standard before. But anyway, he had marked me in the beginning, and I kept away because he was just so bitchy and catty the last time I saw him at the casino that I can't help feeling he had a part to play in me getting harassed out of there with the viciousness and the bullying and the nastiness. I might be wrong. I'd like to think better of people, but he has got this pattern of borderline nasty kind of behaviour, trying to make me look like some idiot or freak, So anyway, here we go. So I noted him. He noted me when I was waiting in the queue to get in, and I just sort of stared at him blankly because I thought, I hope you're not going to try and other me and get me kicked out for no reason or just be nasty, So I'll just stay away from that idiot. It's not important, it's just a nobody. And I did. And so I went to order a drink. And I also ordered my usual, standing drink, which is Jack Daniels. And the young man, I don't know why they're impressed by Jack Daniels, honestly, it's just so nuts. But anyway, he looked suitably impressed and handed me my drink. But he was a nice bartender. The bar staff there were excellent. It's a much nicer club than all that low-grade riff-raff I was dealing with at the Treasury Live Wire bar. It's just embarrassing. They'd even put up with that toxic shit for 12 years. I mean, really, where was I participating in that, lowering my bar of basic behaviours? It's outrageous. I'm a bit annoyed with myself, to be honest. But anyway, it's only hurt because the way they treated me so abhorrently in the end was completely unnecessary. So anyway, so the young fella hands me my drink, and I pay, you know, and look over. Carl's sort of like looking at me, and oh well, you know, he's got some weird freaking fascination that borders on sexual frisson, but at the same time a kind of malevolent hatred as well. You know, some men are so inadequate they hate you if they can't have you, kind of thing. But he's played this weird sexual game of like some kind of weird thing of teasing and feigning interest, and then just being quite savage. Well, who else behaved like that I actually did have an intimacy with? I mean, these men are really quite depraved. So I thought, well, I won't buy into it, I'll ignore it. I'm here to dance and have a good old wild time, listening to the music and supporting my favourite band, Alter Egos, who are lovely men and have always treated me with respect and kindness. So that was my sole agenda for being there. Knowing that I was going out and being amongst at least some friends, you know, some friends in the scene that, you know, treat me with honour and decency and kindness, right? So, so of course, Scottish Carl, who loves me but hates me, but loves me but hates me, and like is really only like, you know, an acquaintance, I wouldn't call him a friend, decides, you know, towards the end of the evening, probably emboldened by alcohol, to stand behind me. And, you know, I don't know if he was watching me dance, staring at my ass, or if he just happened to be standing behind me. But I was actually, at that point in time, I was actually in my zone. I had finally got into my zone, and I was, you know, dancing sinuously to, I can't remember which song it was, but, you know, they played all the harder rock songs, which was great. I enjoyed that. I've actually hurt my neck, because I actually hurt all the bones in my neck a couple of months ago, moshing to Zombie, and they're not right. I've re-injured them by, I didn't mosh hard last night, but just by turning my head slightly in my neck, I've actually, aggravated all the little sore spots. So anyway, but at that point in time, I think I was just, you know, shaking my head from side to side and wiggling my hips from side to side in rhythm to the song, you know. And because I was turning my head ever so slightly, I could see out of my peripheral vision, because I'm a hypervigilant trauma survivor, I could see Scottish Carl was behind me. Not close behind me, about, you know, 4 feet away, 3 feet away, something like that. And he had a security guard standing beside him, a young security guard. And so I ignored it for a little while, because I thought, oh well, you know, cat can look at a canary, and I'm having a good time and I won't buy into the bullshit. But I thought, no, it was so weird. He'd been like kind of keeping an eye out, keeping a kind of a hairy eyeball out for me all night, on and off, not intensely or anything, but it was just so weird. And then he stands behind me, so I couldn't resist my cheeky mischievous nature. I turned around and looked at him, and looked down to his feet and scaled back up to his eyes. He's a very tall man. And he just gave me this sneering look too. And it's this kind of our like psychosexual drama that he and I play. We've been doing this for years, and it's kind of ridiculous, really. He should have just made an effort to be a nice friend and stop acting like a complete fucking tosser. But the time for that has come and gone now, because now he just pisses me off. So then I approached him and stood beside him, but facing, you know, in the opposite direction. The security guard's watching me like a hawk, you know. And I had my bikie jacket rolled up and folded up under one arm, because all night there was nowhere to put it and everything was saturated in alcohol. All the tables were taken up, so I just held on to it most of the night, which was a bit awkward, but what can you do, you know. And so my jacket's under my right arm, and I just kind of leaned ever so slightly into Carl, not into him but towards him, and I said in this really dark, gravelly Jack Daniels voice, I said, I see you're still stalking me after all these years, darling. He was so shocked, A, that I approached him, and B, that I kind of made fun of his stalking, because it is a form of stalking what he does. He probably doesn't realise it, but it is kind of intimidating. This big, tall, drunken lout of a Scotsman hovering around all the time and, you know, making faces at me, trying to make me feel uncomfortable, right? And I know he's not doing it to be, well, I don't know that. I know he's not doing it to be completely malevolent. He probably just thinks it's funny. But anyway, the young security guard looks at him in shock, because he heard me say, I see you're still stalking me after all these years. And so he looks at him in shock, and I thought, oh, they'll probably kick me out because they think I'm starting a fight with them, you know. So I turned back to the security guard and I just gave him this really mischievous, amused, hilarious little grin, and walked back to where I was standing previously, dancing. Just kept dancing. I thought, fuck it. Anyway, I heard Carl go, what? Probably trying to act all innocent, but also shocked that I confronted him on his behaviours, right? Because I am not surreptitious. My friend Lynn said to me, I need to be more surreptitious. No. If I say it how it is, I'm authentic and I'm confrontational. If someone's bloody hounding me down, I let them know. So anyway, I'll probably get banned from this club already, and it's only my first time there in about 12 months actually. And I'm thinking, oh great, you know, another place they'll asshole me out of spite, you know. But anyway, they can't really, because I didn't do anything wrong but hold my ground and protect my assets by saying basically, why are you staring at me from behind, you know? Why are you following me around the club? So anywho, the funny thing is, I kept dancing, having a wild old time, because I was actually having a wild old time. I think he left. I actually think he left. I couldn't see him around after that. And I thought, oh well, you know, we'd all had a good night, and it was towards the end of the evening anyway. And then some other man who I vaguely recognised his face from dancing at Irish Murphys or possibly the Elephant. He did seem vaguely familiar. He came up beside me, and at this part of it was just before the band finished actually, so it was around about 2 they finished in the morning. So he came up beside me, and he was smiling at me, which is nothing wrong with that, you know. He seemed like a very nice person actually, but I'm just giving him my like wary, guarded eyeball look, because I'm at this point I'm really in the zone now, because I had a bit more space around me, so I could actually reach my arms out to dance fully and passionately, and you know, move my whole body rather than being squeezed into this like sardine packed little vice, you know. So I had my hands stretched out, and then I was like moving to the song, and had my eyes closed, and I was like really enjoying it. I think I was singing along too. I can't remember what the song was now. Anyway, so then this particular gentleman looks at me and laughs, and he was dancing too, and he said to me, I just love how you feel the music. And I nodded and I said, that I do. He just smiled and kept dancing like he actually wasn't trying to hit on me. I thought he was at first, but he was actually fine. He was actually very sweet. But the other awkward thing was I spent the whole evening, from the moment I got there inside the club, I didn't know he was there when I was in the queue. He must have got there earlier. I spent the whole evening dancing near my ex-lover's cousin, who they used to turn up together at the casino. When they saw me, they just used to shiver and shake, like literally from top to bottom. They were shaking with, I don't know what that was, but it used to be really kind of gross, you know. And then sometimes I'd give them a little nod or acknowledge them, and other times I'd just ignore it, you know. So anyway, the ex-lover wasn't there, thank God. I don't know what I would have done. I guess I would have had to have gone home because it just would have been too awful. But I wasn't intimidated by the cousin. He's never done anything to me. I don't even know if he remembers who I am, quite frankly. But he had a very attractive woman with him, and she kept saying, Chris, come and dance here. And you know what? That man stayed in my immediate vicinity most of the night, which would have been creepy, except that I could see he was genuinely kind of fascinated. And there were a couple of times I actually moved away, because twice I had to go to the ladies, and each time I'd sort of stay on the other side of the club, actually to get space from him, because he wasn't being creepy or annoying me, but he just stayed either within my eye shot, right behind me, or right beside me most of the night. And I thought, why is he doing that? It was very odd, given that, you know, his cousin and I are kind of, well, kind of enemies now, I suppose. I don't really hate him. I just think he's a twat. The way he treated me was appalling, mind you. So I don't know, maybe he was getting off on it in some way. Maybe it was kind of stalking too, but I didn't feel frightened of him or intimidated by him. The only thing was, a couple of times he actually brushed against me, and deliberately, and I could feel that, like, the hairs on his arms brushing against, you know, my arms. And so I sort of shot him a bit of a look, and then he just gave me this really shy, weird smile, and I thought, oh, you know what, they're just so shy and they're so weird, and yet they're so freaking turned on by me. And literally all I've done, I haven't done anything wrong, is show up and dance to the band and have a good time. And I'm entitled as a human being to enjoy, you know, the live music and the live bands. So I won't let these people, these men, intimidate or harass me out of that space. You know, it's just so unnecessary and so sadistic and vicious. And I was like, not looking for a fight or anything. I'm not there for that. I'm there to dance. Like, it's annoying that young girl and her friend decided to harass me halfway through the evening. That was really awful. But you know, the other guy, Carl, I've known him from the music scene for like years now, 12 years. So like, he's not going to do anything to me except, you know, gawp at me and make nasty faces. Like, you know, it's all very kindergarten, isn't it? You know, these men, he's actually a professional in real life. I mean, it's embarrassing how they act when they're out, like regressed naughty little children. It's probably why he's still single, and it's probably why I'm still single, because I just won't allow being delegitimised and dehumanised for holding my own in a club, drinking my couple of drinks, all I had was 2 drinks, and dancing. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Anyway, so at one point I moved away from Chrissy baby, Mr. Chris, and I went and stood like further away from Scott and Alter Egos, because normally and traditionally when we were at the casino, I used to do this like hamming with him and flirting. It was a lot of fun, because he knows I know that he's married, and he knows I won't go there, and he knows that I respect that. But I like him. He's a nice man, and we're friends, you know. So anyway, so it was cute, because he'd sort of looked over at me, and I was about 5 people back in the crowded, in the crowd. And it was so sweet. He actually was looking right at me. So I blew him kisses and, smiled at him. It was like blowing him kisses. And then he blew me kisses right back and then mouthed, "I love you." Like, we're talking platonic as friends, of course. And I nodded and smiled and mouthed, "I love you too." Well, everybody in the club was basically looking at this interplay between us. And, it's completely freaking innocent. And that's what I love about it. That he's just such a decent human being who just loves to play his music in the band, which he told me he just lives for his band, and treats me with kindness, honour, respect and integrity. And you know what? That I value that. Because I haven't had a lot of that in the music scene in 12 years. Seriously. So I really do value and appreciate that. And he when he came back from a break, they had a break, he sidled up beside me and said, "How are you going?" He says, "You're in this busy packed club." And I said to him, "I told you I was coming to see you," because I put on their Facebook, that I was coming. Not that it matters whether I turn up or not, but I made it clear that I'm coming along. He said, "Oh yes, you did." And I said, "And also," I said, "I was kicked out of the Treasury Casino live wire bar," I said, "and part of the reason," I said, he said, "Why did they do that?" I said, "Well, they've told me they don't like me having my spot, which is my little safety zone away from the mad crowds, and quite a few people that don't like me there." So it's ironic how I've fought for that little position. And I said, and quite frankly, I said, "Scott, they probably didn't like that you and I flirt, insanely and have a lot of fun, and that must have bothered them too." He says, "I'll be having a word about that." And I said to him, "Oh, don't worry about it." I said, "Just let it go." I said, I said, "It'd be nice if you do, but," I said, "I wouldn't worry too much." I said, the worst thing, I said, was they kicked me when I was down just after I lost my dog. He looked at me in real shock, And I said, "So that's what I'm really angry about, their shitty, vicious, low dog timing, Quite frankly, I've known they've wanted to get rid of me from there for months, ever since I defended my friend Seagal. So there is that. And quite frankly, they probably wanted to get rid of me for a long time before then, but they were just picking their shitty timing for the worst possible time, right? She's just scratching herself again. "Mummy, give you a scratch. Mummy, give you a scratch." So yeah, anyway, I had a lovely time last night. I left at it was 2:17. They were packing up all the equipment, and just before I left, my beautiful necklace that I made with a saw-pierced tree of life and all my skull beads and pearls, and it's a beautiful necklace, broke. So I was scrabbling on the floor to pick up all my beads, and they were everywhere, and it was, the people still dancing. So anyway, I'm squatting on the floor picking up all my beads, and then one of the security guards kicked a bead over to me and gave me a cheeky grin, and I smiled because I thought, they probably think I'm weird, but the beads are worth a lot of money, the pearls especially, and my beautiful amethyst skulls, and also I love that necklace, so I wanted all my beads back so I can remake it, right? So I was scrambling to pick those up, and then I put them all in my bag, and then I pulled a few off that were still around my neck, and then I dropped a couple more, and then I got my torch out to make sure I got everything up off the floor. I think I got all the beads. And yeah, it was quite embarrassing actually, but you know, I make my own jewellery and I take pride in it, so when it breaks it is disappointing. And you know, I had a feeling it was going to break last night because I've worn it a lot lately and it's a very heavy piece and it does break. You know, I've remade it like half a dozen times over the years, so I'm thinking I'll be restringing it. I might make it next time, instead of on tiger tail nylon wire, I might actually properly string it on cotton and not each bead. That way, if it breaks, you only lose one bead at a time rather than the whole lot all over the floor like what happened last night. Anyway, the security guards there made me feel, you know, quite welcome, which was nice, especially when he kicked over the bead and gave me a bit of a smile. And I went up to him and said, "Oh, thanks for that." I said, "It's always annoying when I break my necklace at the end of the night." He just chuckled, you know. And then I looked up, there was another very handsome looking man actually, but this is like the end of the night, and I don't do end of the night. I don't do hookups, and I don't do the end of the night thing. I haven't for many years, because it's just pointless, you know. They're all drunk and they're just out to use you, you know. It's awful. So, but he was a lovely looking man actually, and he had brown, very smart brown shoes, and he kicked over one of my beads back to me, and it was the one that had the evil eye. So I looked down, saw the evil eye, grabbed it, put it back in my Shea Manic bag that I wear when I go out, you know. And so I looked up into this man's face and I said, "Oh, thank you so much, it's lovely." And he was still sort of looking around if there was any more. I said, "Oh, I think I've got them all now." But yeah, very kind. That was very kind. I felt very nurtured and protected at the end of the night, with the men trying to return my pearls and beads that had been cast before swine. But no, they weren't swines. They were lovely, you know. So I looked over and the ex-lover's cousin Chris was still there, and I thought, oh, it's time to leave now. Otherwise it looks like I'm waiting to have some kind of dialogue or conversation with him, which I wasn't. And it was time to go. And anyway, so I left and I nodded to the security guard as I left, and yeah, waved to the drummer, and did my long solitary stomp back to George Street, and I just managed, just in the nick of time, when the lights, the pedestrian lights flickered, to get across the road, just in the nick of time, when the 184 arrived, and I literally got straight on the bus and was going straight home. And I thought, well, that's good, because I used to, in the old days, you know, when I was out at other venues like that, I used to spend time hanging out with the homeless people at the end of my night while I waited for the bus. This was back in the days when I took the buses. Because the annoying thing about being harried out of the casino by malevolent dogs is I don't have the advantage of the parking anymore, do I? It's just nasty. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I took the bus last night because petrol was $2.29 yesterday, and I only bought $20 worth of petrol. And then I thought, well, if I take the car in, I'll have to pay for car parking, which cost another $11, and it's just throwing good money after bad, in my opinion. So I thought, I'll take the bus. I had plenty of credit on my bus card, and you know, the only thing is it's a bit scary walking alone, going there and coming back from Brooklyn Standard, because it's right up the other end at Eagle Terrace. But I'm okay. I was okay. No one followed me, and no one hassled me, and you know, and it's sometimes good to like walk in the night air coming out of a club and clear your head, you know, from the loud music back to like the silence of the night, only interrupted by the sounds of cars going past. And other night noises. So yeah, it was interesting. Anyway, that's my video. Have a beautiful day, and greetings and salutations and much joy, and you know, my triumphant little defiant little dance and stomp and twirl. Going out again last night was good. Overall, it was a good experience, except for the nasty Stepford wife type and the nasty friends. But most of the people were friendly and pleasant, and you know, even though it was very crowded, most people were very congenial. So there is that. So yes, good morning from Sacred Space.